Good morning, students. Good morning, all of you. So, as of now, we have discussed about the nutrition in amoeba, how amoeba take their food, and it is a unicellular animal. Now, we will discuss about the nutrition in humans, as humans are in human beings, the nutrition is quite complex. So, in human beings also, the nutrition it is of intake of solid complex food, and it involves the same 5 steps, that ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion. So we will learn about step by step. Okay, we will learn about all the things. So the first is alimentary canal. It is a 9-meter long structure extending from mouth to anus. So mouth is the key place through which the intake of food takes place. So we eat anything through our mouth. How does your mouth look like? So if you open your mouth, you see a cavity, open space in it. What do? You chew it when you want to eat something. So basically mouth is a gate, or you can say a door to which the entry is allowed. So entry happens through the mouth. So this alimentary canal starts from mouth, and it reaches the anus. And where is anus? Anus is your exit. It is the exit of an undigested food material. So ingestion starts from here, and egestion happens here. So in between this, if you see, there is a tube-like structure. So from here, an alimentary canal start, and this tube-like structure becomes swollen and form this structure. Then it gets coiled like this, and finally this coiled structure again goes to this green coiled structure, and finally it ends at the anus. So basically, starting from mouth to anus, it is just one tube. The same tube, somewhere it is thick, somewhere it is thin, somewhere it is extremely coiled. So its form changes, but it's a single tube. So it is called an alimentary canal, and it is 9-meter long. Now you might wonder, how can a tube which is 9-meter long get accommodated inside our body? That's because in this part, if you see, it is a highly coiled. Okay, so if you coil a tube, it will accommodate within a body which is not even a few meters. Okay. So this alimentary canal consists of various organs. For the first organ is mouth, buccal cavity. It is also known as the oral cavity, or the cavity inside the mouth. So here you have the buccal cavity. So this is the buccal cavity, or the oral cavity. Next is the esophagus. Esophagus is also known as the food pipe. So this pipe-like structure which you see here, this is called esophagus, or a food pipe. It carries the food. Next is the stomach. You see that esophagus ends at a smaller swollen bag-like structure which is called stomach. From stomach is the tube extend into a small intestine. It is a coiled structure, yellow coiled structure, small intestine. And this small intestine then goes into a large intestine. The green color structure here you see, this is also a coiled structure, and it is called a large intestine. So now we will talk about each part one by one. So as we learn each of these parts, we will also simultaneously learn about these steps of the Holozoic nutrition. So let's start with the mouth. So mouth is a slit bounded by movable lips. So the lips are like the window panes. So when you open the window, you just open the window panes, and anything can enter through the window. So similarly, when you open your lips, your mouth gets open, and anything can enter inside your mouth. So the intake of food takes place through the mouth. So basically, which is this process? This is process of ingestion. The first step happens through mouth. Next is the buccal cavity, that is the oral cavity. When you open your mouth is act like a door. Now through the door, the person has entered. So here the person is a food. So the food enters through the mouth, and it goes into the entire cavity inside your mouth. So where your teeth are present, where your tongue is present. So there is a hollow space, right? So where the food is actually goes, and this cavity is called a buccal cavity. And in this you have some important organs like teeth, and you have saliva. If you feel, just try to see what you have inside your mouth. Even when you are not eating, you see some fluid-like structure, watery substance always present inside your mouth. So that watery substance is a saliva, and this saliva plays a very important role in the process of digestion. You have your tongue. So the tongue, teeth, saliva, all these are present in the buccal cavity, and trust me, they all play a very important role in this process of digestion. So how teeth helps? Teeth are sharp structures. So this crush the food into pieces. The first job of once ingestion is happened, the next step is digestion. So next job is to break down the complex food into simpler form, right? So whatever complex food you have taken inside your mouth, first of all you have to physically break it. So that physical breaking process, the teeth helps, because teeth are sharp pointed structure. So if you actually observe all the 32 teeth inside your mouth, some of them have very pointed ends, so that it helps in biting. Some of them are flat, wide ends, so they can crush the food, they can help in chewing. So that way, different teeth are structured in such a way that all of them together help in crushing down the food into smaller pieces. Then comes saliva. So what is the purpose of saliva? Watery fluid inside our mouth. So now this watery fluid can moisten the food and make it softer. So, and also this saliva contains an enzyme called salivary amylase, and this is a digestive enzyme because it helps to convert the starch into sugar. Now what is starch? Starch or sugar, both of them are carbohydrates. Okay. Lots of simple sugar together form a starch. So starch is a complex form of carbohydrate, but sugar is the simplest form of carbohydrate. So this enzyme helps us to break down the complex into simple carbohydrate. Now the food which you are eating contain so many nutrients. So at least one of those nutrients got converted into a simpler form with the help of salivary amylase, which is an enzyme which is present in the saliva of your mouth. Then comes tongue. Now tongue contains the taste bud, which help to sense the taste of the food. Now we discuss about the teeth in detail, because they play a very crucial role in the process of digestion. Now in the teeth there are two types of dentition. Now what do we mean by dentition? It means how many sets of teeth a particular organism have. Now there are two types. One is diphyodont. In diphyodont means two set. Di means two. In those animals which have diphyodont dentition, they have two sets of teeth. That means those which have one set of teeth first, and all of these teeth will fall and they go off, and again a new set of teeth will come. So in their entire life there are two sets of teeth will appear. So these types of animals are called diphyodont dentition. So this type of dentition is seen in most of the mammals. It is more common in mammals. As I said, di means two, phyo means growth, and dont means teeth. Teeth grows 2 times in an animal's lifetime. So what are those two sets of teeth? In case of human being, we have, when the babies are born, immediately over a couple of months, teeth start appearing. So those teeth are nothing but a temporary milk teeth. Okay, they are temporary. They do not remain throughout their life. By the time the kids are 8 to 10 year of age, they start falling off, and they are all replaced by the permanent adult teeth. And these teeth are permanent. So they are going to be there throughout life. Now once they start falling off, then no teeth will come up to replace that teeth. Okay. Now the number of milk teeth which appears in case of children are 20. To a total of 20 milk teeth appears, and these 20 get replaced by a total of 32 permanent adult teeth. So this type of dentition, where in a lifetime first you get one set of teeth and then they go off and it is replaced by the another set of teeth, that is, they are called a diffudent dentition. The other is where only one set of teeth come throughout the lifetime. There is no concept of milk and adult teeth. It is also shown in some animals. And another specialty of the teeth of human being is that they have thecodont teeth. Thecodont. The teeth in human being, they are set in sockets of jaw bones. So if you try to observe your tooth closely, you will see that each tooth, this is how the tooth will look like, and this tooth is actually fit on a socket. It is fitted on a socket. How you have a plug and a socket? So here you have a plug point and this is the socket. The plug actually fits into the socket. Similarly here also the tooth exactly fit with the socket, and this socket is nothing but a jaw bone. Okay. Now the primary and permanent teeth are deciduous or temporary teeth. So it appears during childhood, and when a baby is born, with a couple of months it start appearing around when a baby around 6 months of age, and they later get replaced by a permanent teeth. So they get replaced somewhere around 8 to 10 years of age. So at this age it is replaced by the permanent teeth. So there are total 20 in number. Now as I was telling, if you look at the older teeth inside our mouth, all of them are exactly similar in structure. So they have different structure because they have specific function to perform. Based on their structure and function, there are 4 types of teeth which is present inside our mouth. Now what are the 4 types? The 4 types are molars, premolars, incisors and canines. So these are the 4 types of teeth that exist inside our mouth. So when you talk about the primary teeth, the 20 teeth present are 8 of them are incisors, 4 are canines and 8 are molars. So no premolars exist in the primary teeth set. Okay. So these incisors are present in front of the mouth. Teeth which are present exactly in front of the mouth, whenever you smile, the teeth which is visible are the incisors. Whereas molars and premolars, they are present at the corners, and they are specifically used for biting purpose. So in case of permanent teeth, they never get replaced. They will be there just forever. However, they might also fall if you do not do proper care of these teeth. They never get replaced. They are total 32 in number. In this case, there are 8 incisor, canines 4, premolars 8, and molars. Molars are there were only 8. Now there are 12 molars, and premolars earlier it was not at all, but now there are 8 premolars. That's how the total number of teeth increases from primary to permanent teeth. Now we will discuss about the next part of the alimentary canal, that is pharynx and esophagus. Now you saw that the food entered through the mouth and then it goes through the buccal cavity where it got mixed with the saliva. It was broken down into smaller pieces by teeth. Now what happened to the food? Now this food moves into the pharynx. Pharynx is a common passage for food and air. So it connects to food pipe and windpipe. So this portion, from where do we breathe? We breathe in through our nostrils, right? You see, this is how we will breathe in. Air will be moving through this path and the food will be moving through this path. So correct. So this common passage for both the food as well as the air, that is called pharynx. So pharynx is going to connect with the food pipe as well as to the windpipe. So the windpipe is going to be somewhere just behind the food pipe. So the air which we breathe, that will get into the windpipe, and the food which we eat, that will get into the food pipe. So for both of them, there is a common entry called pharynx, and it take a decision. If it is air, it will send it to the windpipe. If it is a food, it will send to the food pipe. But no digestion happens here. So pharynx is just like a, you can say, a entry gate, where if you go to see a fair or some event, what happens at the entry? At the entry gate, a person is standing there who check your tickets and allow you to go inside. Similarly, pharynx is just a food is just pass the food into food pipe and air into the air pipe. So no digestion happens here. Okay. Now after passing through the pharynx, it goes into the food pipe, which is called the esophagus. So this is a food pipe. So after passing through the pharynx, it moves into the food pipe. And what happens to the food pipe? So this food pipe helps in downward movement of food. So if you see the pharynx or esophagus, these are the two parts of the alimentary canal where no actual digestion happens. They just help in moving the food to the place where digestion is going to happen. So they actually help in transporting the food from mouth to the stomach. So they act as a road between the two. So in esophagus, they have some muscles involved in the walls of the esophagus, and these muscles make some movement which is called peristalsis. It is the name of the movement which is contraction of the food muscles happen, which pushes the food downward, and that's how the food moves in the downward direction, and finally it reaches the stomach. And now here start the main story of digestion. So let's see in the stomach. So stomach expands. It is like a bag which is capable of expansion. As long as there is nothing inside it, it is like a pouch. When you start putting thing inside the pouch, it quickly expand. So again, there is a limitation to its expansion. As we keep eating food, our stomach expanding to accommodate the food particles. And this expansion is possible due to the muscular wall of the stomach. So the muscles actually expand, and that's how it creates the space for the food. Inside the stomach, there is some specific enzymes present which help in digestion, and these enzymes are secreted by the gland called gastric gland. And what are they? They are pepsin enzyme, hydrochloric acid, mucus. See, these are some important thing present inside the stomach and which play a significant role in the process of digestion. So basically what happen is, this hydrochloric acid, that is HCl, which is present inside the stomach, it play a very important role. One function is that the food we eat might contain germs. So they get destroyed by the action of this acid. So that is one function which it perform. The other function is that this hydrochloric acid activate the enzyme pepsin, and now this enzyme, it help in the digestion of protein. It help to break down the protein into simpler form, like how you had the salivary amylase which break down the complex starch into sugar. Okay. Similarly, here in the stomach, the complex protein is broken down into simplest form. So that is done by this enzyme pepsin, and this enzyme pepsin become active only in the presence of hydrochloric acid. Otherwise, this pepsin is present in the form of pepsinogen. And this pepsinogen is again inactive. And how it become active? It become active in acidic environment, and this acidic environment is created due to the presence of HCl, and acidic environment pepsinogen get converted into pepsin, and pepsin is a active enzyme. And what does pepsin do? It helps to convert the complex protein present inside the food into simpler protein or less complex protein. So what are those? Maybe protein, less peptones, so they're less complex. Okay, this happen in the presence of pepsin. That is the role of pepsin and hydrochloric acid. Now what about mucus? Small amount of mucus which is present in, it is a slimy substance, slippery substance. So mucus provide the protection to whom? As you saw that since stomach contains so much of acid, a lot of hydrochloric acid, so the entire environment inside the stomach is acidic, which is favorable for the action of pepsin. But the gastric juice is so strong that it can digest the stomach itself. Under such acidic environment, when you have active enzyme like pepsin, it is also possible that the digestion becomes so strong that the stomach itself get digested. Because all are the body parts, they are also made up of amino acid. They are also made up of protein. So therefore, in order to protect the stomach from being digested, this mucus are present. So mucus lubricate and protect the layer of the stomach. Okay, so it help in protecting the stomach. So it also lubricate the surface of the stomach so that the food which get digested here can further move down to the next part. So here you see in stomach a good amount of digestion happens here. Digestion happen here with the help of gastric enzyme. Okay. Now people complaining of acidity. I ate something which was too oily and I ate something outside and germs come inside and I got acidity. So what do you mean by acidity? When the amount of hydrochloric acid in the stomach increases too much, then comes the problem of acidity. So how do you sort that problem? By eating some antacid tablet. So when you take antacid tablet, the antacid tablet is like they act just opposite to the acid. They try to reduce the acidic environment of the stomach, and that's how it resolve the problem. So that's about the stomach. In the next class, we will discuss about the digestive glands. Understood? I hope this much is clear to you. Thank you, students.